whatever you wind up doing is exactly what you should be doing.
And I have not behaved one single day of my life. Not one day of my life have I behaved, and I am fine.
I need your help. I can't tell you what it is. You can never ask me about it later, and we're going to hurt some people.
Whose car are we going to take?
Joining us on the Nikki Medoro Show live on YouTube every weekday, unless we're pre-recorded like I was yesterday, Monday through Friday, noon Pacific time. I want to thank all of you for still tuning in yesterday, reaching out yesterday, being in the live chat, donating to the live chat. I really do appreciate you all so much. I have a bit of announcement, but coming up regarding what happened yesterday, what may be happening today personally for me here, because ever since we left Station X, I feel we've developed a different type of relationship here on the Nikki Medoro Show. So that's coming up in just a moment. But thank you to everybody that's already here in the chat room. What's up, everybody? Please click that thumbs up button real quickly. It helps support the show. It's easy. It's free. We love it. YouTube loves it. It really helps us out. I've gathered from the live chat yesterday during the show that you guys are kind of leaning towards what I was saying regarding the Patreon. Now, I urge you guys to become Patreon subscribers. Just go to thenikkimedoroshow.com. The Patreon link is there. And I've been posting kind of special content there that I'm not sharing anywhere else. I mean, even though when you see it, it says like it's on TikTok, because TikTok has the best editing for these types of visitors. I don't actually post it on TikTok. You can't see it anywhere else. You get a bit of a preview on Patreon, but you can't see the entire video. And I was doing that because I wanted to give my Patreon, my monthly Patreon subscribers, a little extra for being a monthly subscriber. So what I've decided to do, after giving it much thought and reading some of the comments, what I'm going to do is I'm going to still do special stuff for the Patreons. You guys are still going to get early access before anyone else. But the videos that I create, kind of that content, will eventually be made public and to everybody else after a bit of time. So I think that's the fairest way of doing it. So if you want to be part of the cool club and get all that early access and everything, again, the NikkiMedoroShow.com. The Patreon link is there, as well as links to my YouTube channel, which I would love for you to share and continue to subscribe if you have not already. The Super Chat is live. That is how you donate some bucks during the show. Even if you're watching it after the live broadcast, you can kick some bucks our way, some bucks our way with a super sticker, super chat, super thanks. I love you guys. I'll give you shout outs during the show and definitely read whatever comment you put on there. PayPal's up, the Nikki Medoro Show at gmail.com. And of course, we do have the merchandise behind us. There's more than this. There's cups, there's tumblers, sweatshirts coming. I'm doing a slow rollout of merchandise, not giving it to you all at once. That doesn't make any sense. So we're doing all of that on the show. So I really, really appreciate you all. And of course, the biggest thank you of all to our exclusive founding sponsor, Steve Moskowitz, who will be joining us during the show. 888 Tax Deal. MoskowitzLLP.com is the website. He can help you not just with tax stuff, but accounting, HR. He is the guy to call. And it's not for these Fortune 500 companies. It's for you. It's for me. It's for all of us. So give him a call and help support the show that way. Okay, so what do we have coming up? Well, we have a lot coming up. We're going to talk about the A Stadium. They were throwing out curveball because federal funding may not be there, at least in the first round. And this is my question that you guys can kind of mull over until we get to it. Should the A's kind of pause a little bit in moving to a place like Las Vegas? Because Mark Davis, of course, the Raiders owner, he's using the word embarrassed by being the quote unquote home team in Las Vegas, because it has to suck to always feel like the visitor in your own home stadium. You love to see it as a Niner fan, but we'll talk about that. I want to put up a Friday food poll. Let's welcome Kim McAllister, who was kicking ass on the Mark Thompson show. Good job, Kim.
Oh, thank you.
Is that a moon light next to
Yes.
you.
So I got my kids these for Christmas. Thank you for noticing.
My
It is
daughter
a-
has one for Christmas too. It's awesome.
It's a moonlight, and it comes with a remote control.
Yes, it's really
And you
cool.
can change this is red.
Ooh, it's so gorgeous. I love it. I wanted it.
Green,
Technically, my husband
It's
wanted
kind
it in the
of
white elephant, but we gave it to
blue.
the kids.
It's
Yeah.
kind of hard to see.
Oh,
Anyway,
it's
yeah,
gorgeous.
it's kind of
I
cool.
love it.
So, but to charge it up, you have to plug it into a computer. Ooh, that's kind of a cool color. Kind of an
Yeah.
aqua color.
Ooh, I like it.
Anyway,
Looks like Earth.
yeah, they got these for Christmas, and so I think they're kind of cool. So I put it in here for today.
I like it. I really, really like it. It's gorgeous. So yeah, I want to see. I don't know if I can do it. Maybe you know how to do it. I want to put up a Friday food poll. We were talking
Oh.
about this yesterday, so I don't know if you can go into YouTube and do it. I don't know how to do it. But I want to put up a Friday food poll,
Mhm.
and we'll get to it in about 10 minutes or so. And you guys can debate it or think about it right now. Should we do what Kim was suggesting, this kind of Wendy's chicken parm type sandwich, but without the
Right.
chicken and just the cheese? It's Friday, so this coming Friday is Peach Melba Day, which is like some fancy schmancy dessert.
Mhm.
I'm not saying I'm going to make a peach Melba, but should we do something peach themed? Should we do something kind of Friday the 13th themed, since it's Friday
Oh.
the 13th?
All right.
Should the listeners or the viewers over today and tomorrow decide what we're going to eat? And then, Kim, I guess we'll just do it right now. Then I found these two websites. One is like a food type randomizer,
Right.
and another is a restaurant randomizer. So you put in your zip code, and they kind of randomize the restaurants and how far of a distance you want. So basically, should we let AI decide what we eat? So we'll put that up. We'll try to do, something fun. I want to. It's a very popular
Oh.
segment, and it's hard for me to decide whether or not. Yeah, but
Mo with the Mo for the win.
oh, I love you to death. If I have to eat another slice of pizza, I am telling you. Unless there's, you know what I should. If we do pizza, and I'm not saying we're going to do pizza, but if we're going to do pizza, you know what I'm leaning towards? Have you ever had like the different types of pizza, like Indian pizza with like Indian flavors on it, not like the
No.
traditional? I've never had it either.
I mean,
but
I've had some funky pizza,
Oh.
like white chicken and artichoke or whatever, but not Indian pizza.
No, so I think
I-
there's Bossman's Pizza. I could be wrong about this. I'm trying to remember off the top of my head, but
Okay.
they make like kind of these different flavored
Mhm.
pizzas. So I don't know.
I have a story to tell you.
Okay, go ahead.
Yesterday, I'm getting my my unsweetened iced tea as I pick the kids up at school. And I'm in the line waiting, and I
Okay.
see from this giant, some type of moving truck. But it was fairly large, not a van, but like an actual truck, like a box truck.
Mhm.
Higher than that, though. The window opens, and out goes the garbage. Yeah,
Oh.
you hear about
They
these
they
people-
got a bag of garbage, all their crap in the car.
They
and then
had their
tossed it out the window?
they got their fast food. They ate it. They were done with it. Open the window, throw out the garbage. Now I've seen this happen. I mean, I've heard about this
I
happening.
don't know how people do
My
that.
my dad used to tell me people will just throw garbage right out their window.
Right out the window,
And
yeah.
then you walk through parking lots and you see, people's fast food remnants in the parking
Of
lots.
course.
But I've never actually visually seen it happen.
Mhm.
And so here's the moment. Where do
What'd
I
you do?
do how I'm raised, which is shake your head and don't say anything, just carry on.
Okay.
Or do you say something?
Say something.
So I think I've been hanging around you a little too much.
Yay. Good. You should say
The
something.
more I look at this garbage
Yes.
on the ground, you're littering in my town, pal, first of all,
Yes.
the madder I get. And so, I mean, I'm not going to march over to the car and go, pick up your garbage, right?
Yeah.
But he gets out of the truck. And so I roll my window down and I say, hey, I think you dropped something.
Oh, good. That's a good response. And what do they say?
He picked it up.
Uh-huh.
I don't know if then as I drove, on to get my
Threw it
iced
after
tea,
you.
he
Right.
just chucked it back on the ground. But in that moment, I felt like I had success for the planet.
Good. You did the
And
right
for the
thing.
litter bugs in the world, I scored one on them. So yeah. But
I
then
just
I'm
can't
thinking,
believe
was
you
that
do that.
stupid? Because I mean, the guy could be armed. You could start some type of altercation. We've seen fights break out in the fast food line. Like the last thing I want
That's
to
how
do
fascism
is
wins, Kim
be
McAllister.
involved in some tacky dispute at Wendy's. But on the
Yeah.
other hand,
You have to
God, I
say
was
something.
so mad when I saw that garbage fly out the window. I'm telling you. I'm
Yeah,
like,
I mean,
ugh.
If they weren't going to, like, if they stayed in their car and didn't come out of the car and give you that opportunity, if I was out of my own car, another option, if you don't want to be confrontational, but you would still want to make them feel hella guilty, is you pick it up and you go, let me get that for you. Right. Or like some, like, show them the best behavior. Although I don't know if I would have been that nice. I would have probably like picked it up and been like, shook it at him. Like, this is not your garbage. Be an adult. I mean,
hey, I think you dropped something.
Yeah, exactly. Give me a break. Well, I'm proud of you, Kim McAllister. There you go. Never stay silent for anything like that. Okay, so I do want to let you guys know, and thank you again for everybody that tuned in yesterday. My daughter did have her infusion appointment. She's not doing too good right now.
No.
Yeah, so we're trying to get her back up to speed. She's homesick today. So I'm trying not to get all emotional about it. I appreciate all of the kind words and everything. Look, she might have to go to the hospital today. So I just got off the phone with her doctor about 20 minutes before the show started. He's not liking the fact that she's sick. So we might have to bring her in, see what's going on in there. Now because of the hospitals, I mean, because we've heard the stories, Kim, emergency rooms are overflowed. They don't want me just going down to the emergency room. It's not an emergency, but we don't want to let it kind of fester if there's something going on in there. So if my phone rings, I might mute you for a bit. And I'll have to see what they say. They might not have a bed until this evening. So
it turns out today is a kind of a hosting day. So if it needs to happen, it needs to happen. But I hope she's okay. You know, poor kid.
We just don't know what's going on. Yeah,
it just sucks.
It sucks. I mean, and she's not happy about it. You know, she just wants to sit in bed. She doesn't want to go to the hospital. Nobody does. And it sucks. And I don't know. I posted something in the shorts because, and Kim, you know, I was talking to you the other day about, you know, just parenting, being a parent when your kid has a chronic illness. It's hard. It's hard to figure out what the right thing to do is in any given moment. So it's
oh, honey, I want to reach through the screen and give you a huge hug. I know this is hard.
It's just a tough. I don't like to get emotional because I'm not trying to like use this, you know, for the show. I just want you guys to know that what's going on.
Yeah.
And so, you know, if anyone knows how to parent through bullshit like this, I appreciate any advice. So anyways, I'm going to do a great acting today. I'm going to try and push this aside and just do the stuff I was going to talk about today. So,
it's important to talk about it too, though, you know, because I think when you have stress, it's better to face it head on and not kind of shovel it away. It's okay to be like, this is happening in my life and I'm going through a rough time and this is hard. And I'm not sure I'm making the right decisions because there's comfort in knowing that we have all been at a point where we're not making the right decisions or we question ourselves or we wonder, you know, you're not the first mom who has sent their kid to school and then the kid calls you in the middle of the day and says, no,
wasn't a good idea. And it's one of those questions where I think for me, the thing that I struggle the most with, besides obviously the physical, is how to not make it define her.
Yep. I think, and I don't have a chronic illness, so it's hard to speak to it, but I feel like that's something she figures out on her own. That as she lives with this, and thank God it's something she can live with, right? Crohn's. As she lives with this, she'll figure out that there are some days where she's going to have to just push, and she's going to be able to know her own body and know days when she can push through it and know the days where she can't push through it. And she'll figure it out because she's the one that's going to be listening to herself and knowing, and you just have to trust it. That's, I mean, I guess that's how you navigate it because you'll never really know what's going on with her. You know, she's got to be the one to say it.
And the thing is, you become so optimistic, you know. She was doing good for a while, right, when she started her infusions, and we've just had a little bit of a setback. So I'm trying not to, you know, be strong, and I apologize. I hate, like, obviously crying.
Oh my God, it's so okay. Remember the time Julia got busted on the air? So you see what I'm saying?
Thank you for that. That was something we could all enjoy watching. Yes. All right, so I got to change it. Okay.
Oh, let me tell you, by the way, the fallout of that is that this week she has to do community service at school.
Yes, can you please just tell me that story, because you started to the other yesterday or the day before.
So for people that weren't aware, Julia got caught. It's a closed campus. She's in eighth grade. But a couple of boys were leaving the campus. It was the last day before winter break, and they were just showing movies in the class, and kids were wandering around, and there was no real structure to the day. So these boys decided they were going to go off campus for lunch. And then Julia's friend says, they're going to get in trouble. I have to go after them. And Julia says, this is how the way it's allegedly went down. Julia says, no, you can't go after them. We're going to get in trouble.
So
and the girl's like, they're going to get in more trouble. I have to go get them. And then to keep her friend from getting in an unsafe situation, Julia went to.
Yeah, I mean, she
They
needed
only
to
got like half
chaperone
a block, but yeah,
You know,
whatever.
I love that your daughter feels that her presence there makes them safer. You know what I'm saying? Like, you just gotta love kids and the way they think. You know?
I have drilled into them, because they sometimes will go to the library after school, that if they're going, they need to stick together and do the buddy system. So it is my fault that she's
okay, but now we have an example to use of where it's like, let's just tell an adult and not participate in that. So what did they do? What did they do as a consequence?
Every day except today, I think, because it's the Wacky Wednesday short day. They have to do 1 hour of community service at school. So one day she helped file in the office.
Mm-hmm.
Yesterday she was at the after school care daycare, and she was helping with the little kids and cleaning up paint and making sure they had what they need and serving snacks and things. So 1 hour every day this week she has to do community service at school.
Well, good for her. I mean,
right.
Consequences of your actions.
Right.
And
she handwrote.
She knows.
This was the consequence from home. She had to handwrite letters to her teachers and to the principal about being sorry that happened.
I'm just laughing because I love her mind. I love Julia's mind. 13-year-olds, I swear, just thinking that she was making the right decision, and then probably once she was caught, instantly realizing it wasn't the best one is just too funny. Well, you're raising a good one as well.
I didn't mean to steal your thunder, but mine's a little funnier than yours.
Yeah, thank you. Well, okay. Another thing that will cheer me up, of course, is talking about, I kind of feel for the A's and the Raiders. So I don't like the Raiders, as everybody that listens to this show knows. So let's talk about how embarrassed their coach are to kind of cheer me up here. So first off, the news of today is, and I'm sure you've been following this, Kim, is that Howard Terminal has been thrown what they're calling a curveball. Let me show you, and we'll give a preemptive thanks to KTVU for this report. This is a bit about what is going on, and this is Jane Katsuyama is reporting on this. Here is the potential setback of the A Stadium at Howard Terminal, which we all know was, largely backed by former Mayor Libby Schaaf. Shane Tao now has to take it over. So here's the latest.
The dream of transforming Howard Terminal from this into a new Oakland A stadium complex just got thrown a new curveball. Oakland had agreed to publicly fund the infrastructure and transportation surrounding the privately funded 35,000-seat, 55-acre ballpark complex at the Port of Oakland. In the city's application for a federal mega projects grant, the city estimated the waterfront mobility hub portion would cost $366 million, and the city's request was for $182 million. Now it appears the project might not get that funding. KTVU obtained a copy of the preliminary recommendation rankings by the U.S. Department of Transportation. The Oakland project is listed as not recommended, a significant setback in the overall funding, according to Nola Aga, professor of sport management at the University of San Francisco.
The city of Oakland had expected to find around $600 million in order to fund the offsite infrastructure that's necessary for Howard Terminal. In the current economy, it's difficult to find that funding.
Oakland's newly sworn-in mayor, Sheng Tao, was silent on the matter Tuesday. The city's Department of Transportation Director, Fred Kelly, did issue a statement, though, saying, "While we are disappointed to have not been selected in the first round, we believe we put forward a strong application and are well positioned to secure other funding sources."
All right. And again, thank you to KTVU for that report. What do you guys think in the live chat? Is this, I mean, again, there's a timetable we're talking about here. Securing extra funding, not having those sorts of things, that is a huge problem, especially when the A's or the Las Vegas is knocking and wanting the A's to move there. So on one hand, I'm like, oh, this doesn't look good. Vegas has it. On the other hand, I want to bring in the Raiders. Now, this is a hilarious thing to read. And again, as a Niner fan, you just love to see it. Look at this. Look at this post. And this is true. This is Mark Davis, the owner of the Raiders. Allegiant Stadium continues to be more of a friendly home for visiting fans than the great home field it was for years in Oakland. Yeah. Duh. Look. And then this is the funny one. Raiders announced plans
to add a giant toilet
directly to the new stadium. That's just because their team sucks. But here's my question to you. Do you think that's what's happening at the stadium for the Raiders should give the A's pause on even moving there? Because I don't feel there's enough of a fan base, at least at this point, for the Raiders to make it, a sea of silver and black like it is for visiting teams. Because why? Hey, our team, not the Raiders, our team is playing in Vegas. Let's take a trip to Vegas. And so many other visiting team fans are thinking the same damn thing, that the stadium then just becomes the home stadium for whoever's visiting it, and never the home stadium for the team that it's actually supposed to be for. So should the A's want that, or do they just not even care as long as they have a new stadium? I can't imagine playing at home and always feeling like the visiting team. Like that's never fun. You don't get that momentum. You don't get that thrill. You don't get that crowd cheering your team's name. Instead, you're looking up to the stadium and seeing all the opposing team's colors instead of your own at the actual stadium that's supposed to be your home. And stars, A's looks like it's going to be at the current site of the Tropicana in Vegas. So yeah, I'm glad that you mentioned that. So apparently they were looking at two sites, one next to Circus and the other next to the Tropicana. But now it appears the Tropicana is the front runner. Now this is of course contingent on whether or not the team decides to stay in Oakland or not. Let's see. Last year, a source told a Las Vegas publication that the A's had narrowed their stadium search to the Tropicana and the festival ground sites. And we'll see. But I think, if anything, what the Raiders are seeing at Allegiant is something that should give the team pause. I am disappointed, though, that the funding for it wasn't really, at least it doesn't look like it's going to come in the first round. Interesting comment from Al Anonymous. The A's and Raiders didn't happen because Libby got too greedy. Nah, I wouldn't use that word. I would say that she made sure that it was the right financial terms for the taxpayers of the city of Oakland and the county. Yeah. And this is interesting. Maybe if the A's were a better team, they'd have more fans. Okay. Let's go off that, John. If you're saying that the A's just don't have the fan base for it to even support an Oakland stadium or Howard Terminal, why would you think that they would in Vegas? Or does it just not matter because it's Vegas? I wouldn't want the competition. If I was a professional football team, I'd want to be the only game in town. And that means staying in Oakland, because you're literally the only game in that town would be the A's. So I hope that they're able to build the Howard Terminal. And I've said this before, even when Libby Schaaf was the mayor of Oakland, it will revitalize that area. I don't go to that area. I mean, I live in the South Bay, so I'm not really in that neck of the woods normally. But you create something like what Howard Terminal is supposed to look like. I mean, look at that. I'll go there. You know what I mean? New shops, a beautiful stadium right on the waterfront. It becomes a tourist
nice.
destination, right? And so it will bring, hopefully, the revenue, the tax dollars, and the tourism dollars to make it worth it. Okay, Tony writes, why not something away from the waterfront? Maybe more cost conscious. An outsider's opinion, that was the downfall. Just couldn't get away from the water. No, you can't take it away. If you live near the bay, you want that bay view.
Well, and they're trying to, you one could argue that they have to compete with the Giants and the park right on McCovey Cove, right? So they see the success of that, and that's what they want too.
Yeah. And I get that. I mean, it's gorgeous. And look at that picture again. I mean, if it could be built like that, that is absolutely gorgeous. So of course, that's what people are going to want. And we'll see if they can get it done. But right now, the money is not there. And I hope that they can get it together quick enough to make sure it happens. All right. Speaking of money, let's talk to our money man, our tax man, our friend, and exclusive founding sponsor of the show, Steve Moskowitz. Steve, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for being with us. We were just talking about the Oakland A's. It doesn't look like they're going to be in the first round of funding to fund the Howard Terminal. Hopefully they'll get other funding sources. But on a personal level, when people are looking around and saying, I don't have the money to pay something like my tax bill, or I'm afraid of something happening within my business, you are the person they should call because you can find a way out of that problem.
And it's so common. People, businesses, especially businesses, get in trouble. They can't pay their taxes. They panic. They make the classic mistakes. They don't file their returns. And they do some more serious things too. And you know what? And then horrible things can happen to them. We can avoid all that. And we'll just go to the government and we'll make a deal that the person can afford. And then they can have a normal life back. That's the big deal, a normal life back. And that's true whether this is the first year, it's been a while.
Yeah, exactly. And remind people, the situations you've seen in your 30 plus years in this business, you have seen people think that life has to go like a horrific way simply because they are so burdened by whatever tax or financial situation they find themselves in.
That's right. What you're talking about. I saw 2 suicides. I saw a little boy giving up. Well, a father that loved his wife and little boy, divorced her, gave up the boy for adoption. That didn't have to be. And I've seen countless marriages ruined. Everything was fine with the marriage except the business. Countless businesses closing that didn't have to be. Assets being seized that didn't have to be. Think of it like a disease where if you catch it early, you just take the medicine and you're fine. But if you wait until your arm has fallen off, the doctor will still do everything he can for you, but it's more serious. So just like a medical problem, the sooner you deal with it, the better.
Yeah, exactly. You don't want to lose your arm. You don't want to lose your wealth. You don't want to lose your business or your family. So give Steve Moskowitz a call. He can actually fix those things for you, but you have to call him. 888 tax deal, MoskowitzLLP.com online. That's 888 tax deal or Moskowitz LLP.com. Thank you.
Waiting for that all day.
I know. All right. Thanks, Dave. We'll talk later. All right. So yeah, it's Steve Moskowitz, 888 tax deal, MoskowitzLLP.com. We always appreciate the fact that he's been a huge supporter since the very beginning of the Nikki Medoro Show. Okay. So I'm going to try and figure it out while you do your news. I'm going to put up a poll on YouTube. I don't know how to do it. Maybe if I'm going to figure it out when Kim does her news. I'm going to do a poll. You guys tell me how we should do this Friday's food segment. And I guess we could kind of, as moving forward, unless there's a specific food I really want to do or Kim wants to do, should we do Kim's suggestion, which I'm leaning towards? Sounds a bit delicious. She really sold it to us. Wendy's has like this chicken parm sandwich.
I mean, it's fast food. I don't know how delicious it could be. It's fast food.
As a fast food connoisseur, Kim McAllister, how dare you?
It's not like fancy or anything.
I eat fast food. Okay. Okay. So Kim's chicken parm but she doesn't like fast food meat, has a mozzarella stick patty. So it's a square. It's like, I looked at, oh, hold on. I pulled the picture. Here it is. There it is. And it's the chicken on the bottom and that cheese, the fried cheese is on top, right? That's what it is?
That's right.
So should we try this, but without the chicken? So full disclosure, if we choose this, I'm going to order it with the chicken, but I'm going to cut it in half and I'm going to take half the chicken off and try it your way.
Okay.
Put the chicken on the other one. So we can kind of do it like that. So should we do that sandwich? Should we let you guys decide? So you guys can put stuff in the comments today and even tomorrow, and we'll kind of decide it then. Or should I let the computer decide? I found 2 randomizers. Let me show you both of them real quickly. So there is this one, because I was like, I'm sure there is a technical solution to all this. So this is called the Wheel of Lunch. Okay. So let me scroll down. Here we go. So you spin it and you can add all these different segments on it right there.
All right.
And then you just click it. And so for instance, we'd have to get
okay.
And so you can do that. And
it's for the indecisive among us. We need to spin the wheel.
Right. But you can enter all kinds of segments. So if we want to do that, you guys can give me new segments to kind of add here on the right. Or we could do the food. And I like this one because we can choose places near where we live, Kim. This is, where is it? Okay. So what are you looking for? I was saying San Jose, California. Am I looking for a specific type of food? No. Cheap, because I'm not spending a ton of money on this. And then how far I want to drive for it. I'm thinking delivery. So I'll say 10 miles just to kind of up the kind of circle of what we can get. And then you generate it. And so let's just see if we did this today. Hold on. It's generating Tian Long on Silver Creek Valley Road. And we would go there and order something from there. So those are just some ideas of how we can choose something and kind of keep it fun and let people decide what they want to eat or have us eat. Oh, Tony likes the wheel. I think everyone kind of likes the whole wheel idea, right?
That was fun.
Nick says there's an Italian chicken sandwich from Burger King that was amazing. Is that the one where they had like all the different types of chicken sandwiches from the different countries? Like they had an Italian one. I think they had a Swiss one, right? Like with Swiss cheese or something. I haven't been to Burger King in forever. So I don't know. All right. So you guys let me know in the chat. We'll continue to go back to this, remind people about it, because I love the Friday food segment. I always get hungry when I'm about to do it. And so it's a fun thing. Okay. So we'll do that. Also coming up after Kim's news. So the new Alameda County D.A. has made what many are calling a shocking decision about the alleged killer of 3 people, including 9-year-old Melissa Garecht. She has responded to, I think it's KTVU that she responded to regarding why she made the decision that she did. I want to get your reaction to that. Did you see the video? And forgive me if you guys saw it already. Did you see the video of the homeless woman getting sprayed with the hose? Now, I don't think that there's anyone like kind of defending the person that was hosing down that poor woman, but we'll hear from him. I think it was it also KTVU? KTVU has been busy today for me. No, it was the Chronicle. The Chronicle got a hold of the guy and was talking about why he did what he did. So I'll play that for you. You tell me what you think. And Americans are piling up the credit card debt after a few years of being able to pay it off. So being able to pay down that debt because of, financial help from the federal government because of COVID. So I'll ask you, what do you think is the average credit card balance and the average interest rate now? Because it's changed a lot over the past couple of years because of COVID. So that is all coming up. You guys let me know in the live chat. Click that thumbs up button real quickly and we'll talk after Kim's news.
Now from around the world to up your street, the Nikki Medoro Show presents News Czar Kim McAllister.
And this report sponsored by tax attorney Steve Moskowitz at 888 Tax Deal. Let's start with these flight delays. This is Pete Buttigieg. I almost called him Steve earlier. Pete Buttigieg. Air travelers, of course, dealing with a massive fallout from today's nationwide ground stop. More than 8,500 flights have been delayed so far today. Another 1,200 canceled. Top trouble spots, New York's LaGuardia and Charlotte the top trouble air spots today, or the airports. I will say this is all because of a glitch in the computer system. It's interesting to me the difference between the coverage of this story. Here's just a regular picture of Mr. Buttigieg, and he's been making the rounds talking about the glitch and what that has meant. On Fox, here's the picture they used. So their headline is FAA system meltdown sees Twitter users blast incompetent Buttigieg, no experience.
I mean, come on. It's
I mean,
that seems very political to me.
Do you think the system glitched because Pete Buttigieg has no experience?
No, it's now. Will I say that the buck does stop with the Secretary of Transportation? Of course, but to say it's all his fault, no. There's obviously something going on with our infrastructure, which I will say both political parties consistently mention when we're talking about investing in things. It's both, the bridge, the roads, and the electronic infrastructure with things like airlines. And I mean, I can't imagine after the whole Southwest debacle, now we have a whole day of cancellations. I wouldn't want to fly for another month dealing with these types of headlines. I can't even believe it.
So some pictures of storm damage. These are from my friend Shauna. A whole house gone. This is in Santa Cruz, right on the coast.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Wait, just her house was gone?
No, this isn't her house. This is someone's house. We don't know the people.
But just that one. That's very odd.
Yeah, just ripped right from the foundation and carried God knows where. Probably part of all the wood and debris on the coast.
Oh my goodness.
A lot of storm damage. This is a picture that came from Flo at his school in the South Bay. A big tree came down there, flooding in the Felton area. And I show you these pictures again, even though we've seen them in the last couple of days, just to say that all the damages caused by our recent storms here in California could reach $1 billion. Severe weather has slammed the state since the start of the new year. Some areas have seen hurricane force winds, gusts up to 60 miles per hour. I was talking to ABC's Spencer Christian earlier today. Today, he said level 2 storm. We're going to get these the showers today until about 5 p.m. And that's when he says it lightens up. That storm moves out between 5 and 7 this evening. And then we get a break tomorrow. Friday, a light storm. Saturday, we're back to a level 2. And then level 1 storms Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. So the rain is not stopping. We're probably going to see more damage and more trees falling because the soil is already wet. $1 billion caused so far. Hopefully, because of the state of emergency already declared in California and the promise of federal funds from President Biden now, that things will get fixed quickly, and the people that have lost their homes, or as you see here, have had their homes or cars flooded, will be able to get help when they need it. Let's go now to this fine fellow, Mr. Santos. House Republicans, New York Republicans, I should say, calling on Congressman George Santos to resign after he lied about his background, but he says no. He's not going anywhere. Santos told reporters today he has no plans to relinquish his seat after a group of Republicans demanded he step down. Nassau County Executive Bruce Blakeman said it is disgusting that Santos lied about his family's connection to the Holocaust, while adding his office will have no interaction with Santos until he resigns. That, by the way, is Santos's local Republican Party chapter. They want nothing to do with him. So that's pretty interesting. The House Republicans, will just keep Santos up talking about House Republicans. They are set to consider 2 bills that would limit access to abortion. The new majority will consider a measure to prohibit federal funding for abortion, and another that aims to regulate how healthcare providers handle infants born alive after an abortion attempt. The bills are unlikely to pass the Democratic-controlled Senate. The IRS is starting this year's tax filing season on better footing than in previous years. A new independent watchdog report found the agency has made progress, reducing its massive backlog of unprocessed returns over the last year, although calls seeking customer service reps are still largely going unanswered. Just 13% of the 173 million calls in 2022 actually ever reached an IRS representative, but it's up 11% from the year before. So only 13% of calls answered, but it's better than they were doing. So, okay, there you go. Elon Musk is now a world record holder for losing the most wealth ever.
Yay! Good job.
Reports the Tesla and Twitter CEO lost an estimated $182 billion since November of 2021, meaning his net worth toppled from about $320 billion to $138 billion. The loss is largely blamed on the fall of Tesla shares by more than 65% last year. And this report is sponsored by tax attorney Steve Moskowitz. For more than 30 years, Steve has put his tax knowledge to work for individuals and for businesses. If you need help with your taxes, the phone number is 888-TAX-DEAL. The website is Moskowitz LLP. I'm Kim McAllister on the Nikki Medoro Show.
Perfect. And that's MoskowitzLLP.com, 888 tax deal. Please support Steve Moskowitz. He's an amazing guy. He'll do right by you. He's always done right by us. Okay. So I haven't set up the poll yet. I tried. I'm in the middle of writing it. So we will.
Oh, was that too short?
No. I totally forgot. And then I started doing it. We'll do it in the next hour. I already told you guys the options. We can do the chicken parm. We can let you guys decide, just randomly, tell me where to go eat. Or we can let the computer decide. So you guys can still mull it over. I'll put the poll up, and I'll keep it up tomorrow as well so that you guys can decide that. Okay, so Kim,
yes, ma'am.
All of us, if you're from the Bay Area, I apologize. I need to take a phone call real quickly.
Okay.
This is the hospital, so I'll be right back.
That's okay. You take that. I will take this. I don't know if you guys have ever been to this restaurant. I'm kind of bummed to see it falter a little bit. It's called Mary's Pizza Shack, and they have it's a family-owned company. And the story goes that Mary, she's an Italian grandmother, she started her restaurant in Boys Hot Springs, and people loved it so much that this restaurant then spread across mostly the North Bay. And there were restaurants from Windsor to Santa Rosa to even in Solano County, Dixon and Vacaville, Petaluma, Novato, all these cities. Well, they changed the way things are happening, and then it became it made it into a chain. And then I want to say 6 months to a year ago, family members went back to individually owning restaurants. And now comes this story. And see, when you see a local business like that that's done really well, it kind of bums me out to hear this. And by the way, Mary's Pizza, and I always try to support businesses that support local schools and support other efforts in the community. But a Sonoma-based pizza chain, that's Mary's Pizza Shack, that has served the area for more than 6 decades is closing some of its locations. So Mary's Pizza Shack announced over the weekend its Dixon, its Novato, and its Napa locations are now permanently closed. They put up on Facebook post, the company said the closures are a necessary action as they look toward their future. Mary's Pizza Shack citing increased food and labor costs as 2 of the reasons that led to the decision. The other Sonoma County locations, along with the Vacaville and Fairfield location, will remain open. So it's a bummer that they have to close restaurants. I'm glad they're still around. And if you live in the North Bay, try to support Mary's Pizza Shack, because kind of like Steve Moskowitz, they've done right by the community, like he's done right by us. And they're, they've been good people. So I'm sad to see something happen like that. Power outages still around the Bay Area because of all the trouble with the storms, and PG&E furiously trying to get power back to so many people. The outage is now mostly concentrated in the Bay Area. If you look at the state, here's what it looks like. Governor Gavin Newsom says the biggest challenge right now is the scale of the state and the different areas facing various issues. And we know 4 more atmospheric rivers are on the way. Let's talk a little bit about this. I actually have a picture of this. Let me see if I can get it for you. This is, and I don't know if you saw the picture of this earlier, where a tree fell on a minibus. Here's the photo. It's not pretty scary. So earlier I reported this tree fell on this minibus. Somebody hurt because of this incident in San Francisco. But before the tree fell, it got caught up in minibus lines. You can see the lines that came down along with the tree there, blew out, looks like a car's sunroof. So this is what happened. It looks like not only did the tree hit the minibus, but also a car. A couple residents were caught in there. The vehicle, they had to be rescued by the fire department. So the city is warning you, if this should happen, if you have a downed tree, 311 is the number to report flooding, downed trees, or a landslide. People that need help right away, of course, that's a 911 call. But if you just see flooding or trees, that 311 is the number to call. But man, that's a absolute wreck. Let's talk a little bit about Santa Cruz County. When you talk about storm damage, and I'll go back to this picture of the beach house that got ripped away. I was looking earlier at the list of evacuations that happened, and it turns out that county by county, the most people that were forced from their homes because of the storms, Santa Cruz County, 18,000 people had to leave. And that is in various neighborhoods because of flooding. We saw Felton flood in the Santa Cruz Mountains. We saw damage to Capitola and flooding along the coast. So 18,000 people, that is the most in the state that had to leave. More even than in the Santa Barbara area, where there was a whole town evacuated there as well. So I just wanted to let you know that that was going on. You back with me now, sister?
Okay, so
you all right? Uh-oh.
Full disclosure, my daughter is going to have to go to the hospital for a couple of days.
Okay. That's all right. They're going to get her fixed up. They're going to, find out what's going on. It could be a good thing. I know it's stressful for you right now and you don't want to do that, but you know what? This could be the point where they find out what's wrong, where she really gets back on the road to being okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. You have to go now?
Nope. So they don't have a bed for her till a little bit later this afternoon, around 3:00. So I probably won't be here tomorrow and Friday, depending on. I'm not leaving her in the hospital alone. So
no, I wouldn't either. Absolutely not.
Just to let you guys know, again, if you guys are just joining us, my daughter has an autoimmune disease called Crohn's, and she's had a bit of a flare up, and so they want to get on top of it. And I know that it's not life threatening, right? But it is life impacting. And I think that anybody that has kids knows that it's a difficult thing to watch your kid go through,
Well,
and
you don't want them to suffer challenges. You don't want any impediments put in their way in this life.
Yeah. So I'm going to try to finish the show.
It's going to be okay.
Honestly, like doing the show I want to be here with you guys, and it's not like it's a good distraction. It's just, I know that she's going to freak out.
She's not going to want to do it, but just tell her, this is road to recovery. This is when she knows her body's feeling like this. This is when she's learning right now what this all feels like, and when she's going to need to get extra help, when she's going to need to be hospitalized, when she's going to need to push through it. So it's all kind of a learning curve. So I look at this as just a way that she can get to know her body. And when it feels like this is when you need an intervention type of thing. And we're going to get her fine, and she's going to be back on her feet, and she's going to have her little pom-poms in her hand in no time at all.
Exactly. And that's the whole thing. It's just, depending on what happens. She's supposed to have her first competition next week. And so it's not looking like she's going to be able to do that.
Well, I'm not going to count her out just yet.
Well, I mean, it's just kind of the rules of the team, and being part of a team, and so I keep telling her, I'm like, so we can figure it out early, we can get it adjusted, but I will be obviously, guys, giving you guys updates, and I appreciate all the support that I'm seeing in the chat.
Yeah,
it sucks. This sucks. I mean, I wouldn't. And everybody that I've ever reached out to, it's amazing. And I've said this before, like when you find out, like either you or your child or someone in your family has something, so many people are like, oh, I have that, or my mom has that, or my kid has that. And it becomes a community, but it also is very isolating. I mean, as a mom, you're like, we're going to do this. And, my daughter has put me in my place more than once and saying, we aren't going through it. I'm going through it. And that's the heartbreaking part of it all,
But you are also going through it, because what she doesn't understand, and what our kids will never understand, is how much their experience is our experience. Yes. I mean, it can't ever be 100%, but we probably take more than we should, but we do kind of absorb everything they're going through. Even if we're not a helicopter mom and wanting to make everything easier, even if we want them to have the experiences they have. We still put ourselves there with them.
Oh yeah.
We are going through it
We
with
walked
them.
through the whole
Even
thing,
even if they don't know we're there with them. Yeah.
Exactly. And so I appreciate everybody. You guys have emailed me. You guys have reached out to me. I'm seeing all the comments in the chat. I appreciate you. I'm going to finish this show. And then, we'll figure it out as the day comes and I get more information. But I just wanted to keep you guys abreast. And this is a really odd for me way of like kind of disclosing this because this isn't something I would do at Station X. It would just be the show goes on and you wouldn't have to see this face going through it.
You poor thing. Yeah, this is the face I would see during the break. Like, oh my God, this is horrible.
Exactly. So, but I'm just being honest and completely transparent with you guys, and I'll keep you posted.
I just feel like I always try to find the silver lining.
Yeah.
And the silver lining in this case, even though she's going through more than other kids are going through at this point in her life, is that it's not, as you said, she's gonna live, right?
Yeah.
It's not a terminal disease. It's something she has to learn how to live with. It's something that she can learn how to live with. So the silver lining is that this is, while not fixable, manageable, and that she's going to be okay.
And we just got to get to that point, the manageable.
You have to hold on to that's coming, and that she's learning how to manage it right now. So you're going through some ups and downs as the management is, being brought in. And so I just, that's my silver lining for the day.
Thank you.
This positive moment is brought to you by tax attorney Steve Moskowitz.
AAA tax deal, Moskowitz LLC.com. Okay, well, let's, honestly, because we're talking about being a parent.
Yeah.
And like you mentioned, like, yes, my daughter is sick, but she's alive. I have her with me. And I do try to stay as positive as possible. Because I can't imagine what would happen if something did happen to my child. And it's an awkward way to transition to it. Yeah. But the decision by the DA, the Alameda County D.A., to toss the special circumstances against the alleged killer of three people, including 9-year-old Michaela Garecht. Now, we grew up in the Bay Area, Kim. We remember this case.
Who hasn't heard that name?
Old. Oh, yeah. Right? I mean, I remember being a kid and this blasting the headlines. I was 10 years old. I was her age. It scares parents, I want to, let me see. So KTVU was covering this really closely and spoke with people like, Mark Glass. And I'm going to share it for you just a moment. But, talking to those that have experienced it. Now, Mark Glass lost his daughter, Polly. He was obviously very, very upset. If you've ever experienced this sort of trauma, if you've ever felt like your child wasn't getting the justice that they deserved, you would be pissed off. Here is Henry Lee. He's the one that's been covering this. And I just wanted to play a little bit of it for you because I can't imagine how angry I would be if this was my child.
Convicted of 3 murders. And now some wonder whether she's gone too far.
Talking about the DA there.
David Misch, already a convicted killer, is awaiting trial on charges he kidnapped and killed 9-year-old Michaela Garecht from a Hayward market back in 1988, as well as for allegedly killing 2 women in Fremont 2 years earlier. But I've learned Alameda County D.A. Pamela Price, just a week after taking office, has dropped all special circumstances in the 3 killings. Those enhancements were lodged by her predecessor, Nancy O'Malley. This means if convicted of 3 counts of murder, Misch will no longer face life in prison without parole or the death penalty, which is already on hold in California.
Well, it's a complete and total betrayal.
Child safety advocate Mark Glass's daughter, Polly, was kidnapped in Petaluma and killed in 1993.
What is it exactly you're getting when you elect officials that advocate on behalf of wanton criminals and people that murder children and women?
Misch's defense attorney, Ernie Castillo, tells me his client is not guilty of the 3 killings. In a statement, Castillo said in part, each case relies heavily on questionable forensic tactics. Her decision doesn't surprise me. In fact, it acknowledges the weaknesses in their cases. Michaela's body has not been found. Critics say tossing the special circumstances also removes leverage the DA could have had in trying to find her remains. Retired Fremont Police Lieutenant Chuck Euler, the lead detective in the 1986 killings of the 2 women.
Well, I think there are exceptions to every rule, and if anybody ever deserved maximum punishments, it's David Misch.
This is reckless. This is stunning to me.
KTVU legal analyst Michael Cardoza says it's not a good idea for a DA to take any punishment off the table from the get-go, especially when Michaela's body hasn't been found.
It could be a bargaining chip for later. This is the poster case for putting someone in prison forever to keep him away from society.
Now, I've reached out to DA Pamela Price.
Okay, let me stop it there because Price did actually put out a statement. And again, thanks to KTVU for that reporting. So Price put out a statement. This is what it said from the Alameda County District Attorney's Office, that Price approved 3 murder charges in the case of Mish, accused of killing 3 young women in the late 80s. If convicted as charged, the defendant faces 75 years to life in prison. Each individual charge, if successful, carries a sentence of 25 years to life. Mr. Mish is 61 and has been incarcerated since 1989, having been convicted of the murder of another Alameda County resident. He is currently serving a sentence of 18 years to life. The 3 new charges are the result of a cold case investigation. The decision to charge Mr. Resch rests in the discretion of the newly elected DA. DA Price says it is unfortunate that these victims' families are being subjected to unnecessary media spotlight on the loss of their loved ones. My plan is to move the case forward so they can have some closure after so many years. So I take that statement to mean, take these special circumstances off. He's already going to be in prison for the rest of his life for everything else that he's done. We don't need to do this as well. But I think other people would kind of say, just throw everything in the kitchen sink at this guy. He's a horrific human being and a murderer.
Yeah. I have no sympathy for him.
No.
I do feel like sometimes the wheels of justice, our system, maybe isn't as proficient as I would want it to be. But we have to follow the laws and the rules. And if she feels like something's going on that, it's causing unfairness, he's not going to get out of jail.
No,
he's an older fellow. He's going to jail for the rest of his life. He's never getting out.
Right.
So
why does it make us so mad? Why does it make us so mad that these special circumstances are being pulled off the table?
I mean, look, even if there was a special circumstance that led to the death penalty, we don't really kill people in California. So what does it really mean? What else is going to happen to him? He's going to be in jail for the rest of his life. And I feel like if she needs to look at it and go, you know what, we don't have the evidence here, this charge doesn't work for whatever reason, then as someone who's not a lawyer or a county DA or someone who doesn't have experience in the legal profession, I have to respect that these are the, especially for the county district attorney, that these are the decisions that are best with our justice system. As long as he's not getting out of jail, I don't care.
Yeah. And I completely agree with you. I think it just pisses us off. We want his fingernails to be pulled out one by one, right? I mean, we want some sort of punishment that fits all of these crimes that he's committed and the devastation that he's caused. But
it's never going to be enough. It's not going to bring Michaela Garecht back or the 2 women he killed in Fremont, allegedly. No, it's not going to ever take the hurt and the pain away from the families.
No.
And so I don't, nothing's ever enough.
And that's exactly the right way to put it. Okay. Coming up, I want to get into, actually, we could do it now. You did a late news and you kind of took over when I took that phone call. So let's just continue going on. Did you see this video? And I don't know if you guys, because this came out, when did this come? This was yesterday afternoon that I saw this. Now, when I saw it, I was like, there's no explanation for it. And I still actually maintain that. This is a business owner spraying a hose. Look at that. Look at him.
Listen to her yelling, "Help me."
I mean, so thoughts?
That's an ugly moment of humanity right there. That is an ugly human moment.
Yes.
I understand not wanting a homeless person outside of your business. I understand getting frustrated, but to cause, to spray someone with water, it's a cold day. There's people that are sleeping outside because of storms, and you're so all you can think about is that you don't want that person in front of your business, but you're
Right.
not seeing that person as a human being.
No, you're not. So here is, I apologize. Let me share this real quickly. I could show this with you. This is this guy's explanation for the whole entire thing.
You're right. A real story
Yeah.
that is
Can you turn it up?
pathetic on my part.
Yeah.
That things could not have been handled better. And that after countless times of trying to help her, countless that can be researched and shown, that trying to wash down the street and clean up her mess, and she became just completely belligerent and out of her mind again, that at that point, I turned the hose on her. Guess what? It woke her up. She moved. And that's what she needed to do. But the paramedics come, and once again, they won't do anything.
How long? I mean,
Social service.
how long would you say the hose, like what we see in the video, is like a 10 or 12-second snippet? How long was the hose running?
I don't know. It's one of those things that I don't know. I really don't remember. I mean, was it a minute? Was it 30 seconds? It was trying to get her to move and trying to help her. I came down and asked her if I could help her move the clothes and the whole thing. And this is not a person who just has no sympathy or empathy for homeless people.
You are not.
I am not.
All right. So what did you think about what he just said right there?
I didn't hear, and I'm sorry.
Oh no, did it not go through?
Oh, I didn't hear him say it. Did he say I'm sorry?
Oh no. No, he wasn't. What did you think about what he said in general right there?
Okay. So what you don't see on the tape is him ever having offered her help or assistance.
Exactly.
Well, but I don't think that really makes up for what he did and how he treated her.
You don't treat people like that. I don't care
No.
if you're not happy. I don't care if you're fed up. You don't take a hose, point it at a human being, and continue to spray them, because all I kept thinking about when I was watching that video, he does not see her as a person.
No.
He doesn't see her as a human being at all. It blows my mind that this is where we have gotten. And I know that Governor Newsom, in his budget proposal, was talking a lot about, homelessness. A lot of the money and his focus is going to be on the homeless crisis. He's really upset that we haven't seen any sort of progress. He really wants to tie the funding to seeing progress. That when I heard him say that, all I kept thinking is like, good luck, because it seems like we're in quicksand with the homeless situation in California. Oftentimes we have so many programs, we have so many people that want to help, and yet it's like the flood that we've been seeing with all of this water. We get a little bit of water out and then just more comes back in. And I don't know if making agencies and nonprofits and cities and counties accountable is going to stop the flow of the water. It like the rain, if it's falling from the sky, you can't stop that from happening. And so what do? We have to build more housing, and that's not going to happen overnight. Nick writes in, you treat people like animals. That's exactly how they'll behave. Interesting point, Nick. Really interesting point. And I understand that we're dealing with mental health crisis, language barriers, drug addiction, things like that. But
in her case, just listening to her voice, there sounded like mental illness afoot, perhaps.
Well, yeah. And you know what?
But I don't care. I don't care. I don't care how awful it is. You don't turn a hose on someone like that.
No, you just don't. And also, did you see how he was doing it? Like, he was spraying her right in the face, and I'm not going to speak for him. It didn't seem to bother him that he was doing it. Like,
No,
it's
it
not
was like a
he's
nonchalant situation. Like, oh, whatever, keep talking. I'm just
you're
gonna.
a piece of
there was
garbage.
No
on the
affect
floor.
at all.
No, and and I understand the frustration. I do. I get it. But all I'm saying is, you don't treat people. Now, according to the Chronicle, he could face charges for what he did. Legal experts say the spraying could be battery under California law. where it's illegal to, for example, spit on someone, throw a drink on somebody. Now, obviously, you'd have to be able to prosecute that, and I don't know who's signing up to do that.
Yeah.
State law defines battery as a willful, which he looked willfully doing, an unlawful use of force or violence upon the person upon another person. He can face 6 months in jail and a $100,000 fine. They say unless the spraying was accidental, the man could defend himself only by showing that he had an honest and reasonable belief that he was preventing harm to himself. He wasn't. He was sitting there like nonchalantly, like just spraying like he was cleaning a driveway. But he was spraying somebody in the face. And this is where the homeless crisis has gotten in many neighborhoods. And it's sad. It's really freaking tragic. But on top of all of that, we're going to continue, hopefully not seeing people being sprayed by water. We're going to continue to see people sitting on the streets because they have nowhere to go. We don't have enough shelters and housing is way too damn expensive. That's, here's an interesting question. Mindy writes, what is the answer to moving homeless from your business? What is the answer? Well, I will say this, and we talked about this before when we were talking about San Francisco doing those sweeps, and people are saying it's unlawful because they have nowhere to go.
Mhm.
But if you're offered shelter and you don't take it, that means you're not involuntarily homeless. That means that you have a place to go. You're just choosing not to. So I would say maybe work with someone. If you have one person, like the guy that used to sleep outside Station X, right? That one guy was always there. Get that guy help, and then obviously another person's going to take that hole. Get that person help. I don't know. As a business owner, I would find not easier because this is not an easy situation, but I would want to perhaps work with agencies, find some help for that person instead of busting out the hose and taking it to and escalating it to another level.
And he said he's tried to help her before. So we don't know what steps he's taken. If I were to take steps, I would call city's homeless outreach department, right?
Yeah.
I don't think you can call the police because there's a homeless person camping in front of your business.
No.
They can't do anything. But you can call the outreach people. They can come, maybe find out, is she Julia's calling me. That's her.
That's a gorgeous little ringtone you got going on there.
She played Olaf in a play, so that was a Olaf song from Frozen. But she may qualify for a care court scenario.
Yeah,
right.
Once that's up and running,
got mental health issues, if whatever, there may be a way to get her away from that business. And so, if there's a way to do that legally without, the look of. Not just the look, but the action of spraying someone or being cruel to someone,
right?
Is so much more preferable.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it just treat people like you would want to be treated. Isn't that, that's the whole Christian motto of everything. But it's difficult, and it's difficult because we live in this area.
Yeah.
I know that there's homeless problems all around the country, but people can't afford to live. Everyone's living paycheck to paycheck, it seems like. And now there are new numbers out. Julia, we're on air, Julia.
I have to turn it down.
Look at Kim. Kim's like, you guys need to put your phones on vibrate. Mine was on the ringer because I needed to get that phone.
Oh no, you had it. You have a
vibrate.
reason.
Yeah. I mean, can you put it on speakerphone? Let's just have this conversation. Let's just do it. Let's do this. I mean,
oh my God.
Yes, Julia.
Hi, Julia. You're live on the Nikki Medoro Show. How can I help you?
Can I go to the library?
Oh, that's what you're looking for. Can I go to the library?
Text. That's a text.
I believe that would be a text. But yes, you may go to the library.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Wow. I know, man. Right?
And she wasn't going to stop.
I know. Well, maybe she was thinking, I already got busted for busting out of school. I'm not going to go anywhere without, clearing it with old mom, you know?
She did send me a note saying my friends are waiting. So apparently that was the big deal.
Well, God forbid anybody should be waiting. You know what I mean? So
I'm sorry to everyone for putting the brakes on the Nikki Medoro Show for my daughter having to go to the library.
Perfect. Nick writes in, back to the homeless guy. I'm going to play devil's advocate. I think it's very easy to judge the business owner and difficult to see the situation from his perspective. Oh no, Nick, I totally see it. And maybe I wasn't kind of leading with that. I get it's frustrating. I can't imagine. Look, and I'm going to be completely honest. If there was a homeless person in front of my doorstep,
Yeah.
I could totally understand how quickly it's going to escalate to me busting out the hose, blaring music, doing something to move that person along. What we need resources that will handle that person quickly so it doesn't escalate to that. That's the point. You know what it's so we trust that there's a system in place where not only will someone respond when I have an issue with someone camped out in front of my home or business, but that person will also be treated like a human being, get the resources they need so they don't end up right back in front of my business a week later. Because that's even more frustrating.
There were days when early mornings when at 5 a.m. I'm parking in front of Station X, and our homeless camper outside the building would rouse and start yelling. There were mornings where he was a little scary to me. He would start yelling nonsense and kind of walk toward you, then walk away, then do this kind of thing where I thought, I got to get in the building quick. Right.
Yeah.
And every morning when I rolled up in the dark, I always looked, is he there? Because I would park right in front of where he was. Is he there? Where is he? Is he down the street? Because I knew where he was in relation to where I had to walk in. But those are things that you think about when you live or work in San Francisco. Never in my life, regardless of how much he impacted how I thought and what I had to do and my getting into work, would I ever have thought of turning a hose on him or doing anything mean to him. This is a person of significantly less means than I hope I ever have in my life. So to have a little compassion for someone,
absolutely,
while watching out for my own personal safety is about all I can hope for.
Jan Murgic writes in, not that it justifies what he did, but there's a history between these two. The news went into it a bit last night. She's 5150, has been yelling and swearing at customers. Yes, exactly. And it is scary. Mentally ill, homeless are scary because you don't know where it's going to jump to. You don't know if they're going to attack you. You don't know if they have a weapon. It's difficult. So, and again, to go back to how closely so many people are on the brink of being homeless themselves, just look at the amount of debt Americans are now carrying on their credit cards. Okay, in the live chat, let's take a little bit of a quick poll. What do you think is the average credit card balance for a user? This is last fall. Let's just do this last fall because obviously we're in winter right now. Last fall. What is the average balance of a credit card user? And if you even want to share, how much of a balance do you have? Now, I don't use credit cards. Well, I have one credit card. So that's not true. I have one credit card. It is a Southwest, flights, which I'm not using right now.
Good luck with that.
Exactly. And I use it for things that I know I'm going to pay every month, which is my daughter's cheerleading. It was my son's gymnastics and her tutoring. So I know it's a bill. I know it's going to be the same every month. It's not going to fluctuate. It's not like I'm buying groceries and this or that or the other. I just do it to get points for an airline I'm not planning on flying anytime soon. But okay. So you guys tell me, what is the average balance for a credit card user? Let's go down some of these. Kim writes $2,000. Okay. Nick goes way higher. $12,000. The average user of a credit card. What is the balance? Huge in Japan. He's at 15,000.
That was my guess. I'm going to go with huge in Japan.
Kim's going with 15,000. Dallas says 10,000.
Maybe 22, 23.
Oh, you're going even higher. Natalie says 3,000. Another 10,000. Another 15,000. Jim's 25,000. Question. Carried over or included balances paid off every month? Whatever the bill is every month, what is the average bill? So it could be carried over from the month before, but just the average. Mo, 19,000. Pamela says 8 to 10. Actually, it's way better than any of you guys thought, but still pretty high. It's about $5,500. $5,500 is the average credit card balance for users. But
what is it?
$5,500. So $5,500. Now that's up 13% from 2021 because, let me remind you, people were paying off their credit cards with the COVID relief money that they were getting and all of that. So they've paid off balances and then apparently, because of the jump, been adding right back onto it. Now, Do you think that most of these credit card users have become smarter with their credit cards, are using them, only for emergency purchases? No, no, no. They, according to Bankrate, it's not usually a vacation or a shopping spree. People are using their credit cards for practical day-to-day items. One person interviewed said rent gobbled up 2/3 of her income, talking about homelessness. So there was little wiggle room. His minivan needed $300 worth of work. So whip out the credit card. And fewer people are paying off their balances every month. The number of people who have done that, the share of credit card users who still carry a balance has increased to 46%. So nearly half of credit card users are carrying over balances, which is huge when you think that the average interest rate on a credit card has soared to nearly 20%. Think about that. I know that maybe teenagers and probably some adults don't understand APR, the interest rates on a credit card, and how that screws you month after month. It's terrible, the debt that people can get in with these credit cards.
Yeah, I mean, that's the problem is once you get yourself in trouble and then you get the 20% interest rate, it's impossible to fish yourself out of that trouble spot,
Oh no, yeah. I mean, I used to try to do it. So, I learned a lot of my finances from my parents, from my dad. And, because I'm pretty good with money, my dad had told me, he's like, just put all your everyday stuff instead of using your debit card on your credit card and then just pay it off every month. But what happened and what I saw happening was that I was losing control of it. So I was putting some of it on the credit card, but then I was still using cash. And so then by the end of the month, it wasn't equaling out. Or I was spending too much. And so I stopped doing that. And I was like, you know what? Nope. That might work for you. That doesn't work for me. I'm just an all debit card, straight out of cash. I know exactly what my balance is going to be. And that's it. The other thing that I also do is the minute I get paid, and I hope you guys were raised with this saying, pay yourself first, right? You got to pay yourself first. So if I get money, I figure how much do I need for this week or this next 2 weeks or this month? And then everything else just goes into my savings. Like that's it. Just add, because if it's in my checking account, I'm going to spend it. And so I have a very kind of low checking balance most of the time. It's like, I have like, a couple $100 in there, but I have a savings account that most of my money should stay in. But that's because I've gotten myself into a place where I can. If I had no savings account or money coming in, do you know how attractive that credit card would look? That's exactly what's happening to a lot of people right now, is that they're seeing the credit card as something that they need to use every single day.
Well, and we, I don't know, we see people with multiple credit cards as well. And so that $5,500, is that times 3?
Right. Exactly. That is a good point.
Is that just what you're carrying on one card? And we're also seeing, I will say, over and over again, at least I've been reporting on it, layoffs here, layoffs there, layoffs everywhere.
And more are coming and more are coming.
There are tech companies that are affected, it seems like every day. So I understand that people are trying to have to, turn to whatever they can to survive, to stay in their house, to keep their kids in school, whatever it may be,
Yeah, exactly. And it's hard. And I'm not judging anybody that needs to use a credit card, but just educate yourself on the interest rates. One last tip from Bankrate was, don't chase after those rewards that your credit card gets you, because the interest rates are usually higher on those credit cards because they're giving you the rewards, right? And so don't do that. It's hard, especially if you've been laid off, if you don't have money coming in to get your finances in order. The best thing that you can do, though, is to get rid of those credit cards or have one, like Kim mentioned, having $5,500 on 3 different credit cards. Good luck. Good luck. That's just all I got to say. It's a hard nut to crack. And again, leads to a lot of the problems that we're seeing and leads to people losing their home, being a paycheck away. And it just leads us to the problems that we're seeing spilling out in front of businesses and leading people to treat human beings like trash. So, it's all part and parcel of the same problem. And it's unfortunate. It really is. All right. We have time. I want to get to this story. Now, I love her. If we're not supposed to say spirit animal anymore, right, Kim? Like we're not supposed to say.
Is that because you're co-opting Native American culture?
I think that was one of the things that was supposed to be like on the way out. Okay. But if I was going to have a spirit animal, and if spirit animal was still okay to say, I want it to be Katie Porter, dude. Here she
Oh.
is announcing her intention to run for the U.S. Senate seat, still occupied by Senator Dianne Feinstein.
We're living through a time of extraordinary change. I'm Katie Porter. Change can be electrifying and exhilarating, but change can also be disruptive, like the constant assault on our democracy and the dangerous imbalance in our economy. The threat from so-called leaders like Mitch McConnell has too often made the United States Senate the place where rights get revoked, special interests get rewarded, and our democracy gets rigged. Especially in times like these, California needs a warrior in Washington. That's exactly why I'm announcing my candidacy for the United States Senate in 2024. I don't do Congress the way others often do. I use whatever power I have to speak hard truths to the powers that be, to not just challenge the status quo, but call it out, name names, and demand justice. That goes for taking on Wall Street and the big banks, big oil, and big pharma. It's why I refuse to accept corporate PAC and lobbyist campaign money. I don't want it. And I'm leading the fight to ban congressional stock trading because it's just wrong. To win these fights, it's time for new leadership in the U.S. Senate. If you agree, please go to katieporter.com and join my campaign for the U.S. Senate today. Thank you for caring about the California we can build together.
Oh, you're muted. But yes, we love Katie Porter.
That's quite the ad. But Mindy made the point that I'm getting to, which of course is Senator Dianne Feinstein has not officially retired. Now she's 89.
No.
She is 89 years old. So you would think it's a safe bet to say
She's
that
never had a real challenge. You know, and so you kind of just assumed that she was going to get reelected. But I think at 89, even if she decides to run again,
don't do it.
I think voters may have a different opinion of what should happen there.
So The View was debating this, okay? And it was this idea that Mindy's bringing up of, what about Dianne Feinstein? Is there kind of a protocol? Here's Sunny Hostin of The View weighing in on this.
What we saw when we saw the Democrats during that House chaotic moment when they were trying to pick speakers was this unity. Yeah. And I think that unity came from the fact that Hakeem Jeffries waited his turn and waited for Nancy Pelosi to sort of bless him and say, yes, I'm going to step down. You may step up. And I think she kind of earned that right. And so Dianne Feinstein, she has been a lion of the Senate. And for her, even at 90, I don't know, she's put in her papers for 2024, basically saying, I'm going to run again. And so there's some tension there. And I'm surprised Katie Porter wouldn't get her blessing.
So this kind of bothers me a little bit. Okay, now we're talking about woman power, all of these sorts of things. So do you think, if you believe that you are the best woman for the job or person for the job or whatever, that you need to ask the person you want to replace for permission or your blessing or something like that? I want to play you one more quick clip while you guys let me know in the chat. Now, this is Alyssa Farah Griffin, also on The View, a conservative. And this was her kind of weighing in on that point of, do you kind of thank those that come before you by waiting before you make your intentions known?
I think Katie Porter's unequivocally super sharp and like a rising star for Democrats. But three things that bothered me about the timing is Dianne Feinstein has not officially announced her retirement. And you always stand on the shoulders of the people before you. She served in the Senate for, I believe, 31 years. Yeah. She was the first female mayor of San Francisco. She needs to know who paved the way for her. California is also facing deadly floods. 17 lives have been lost. And I noticed
did hit me a little.
Dianne Feinstein put out a statement saying, she hasn't made a decision yet whether she's running or retiring, but her focus is on the floods. I actually interpreted a little bit of shade in there. Like,
I did too.
I'm doing work for my home. And then just finally, I could say this about a lot of people, but she was just sworn into office in the House. I don't love when people run for one office only to run for the next thing. I get that she'd eventually have to announce.
But if it's still for California, so I would feel differently if you were like, now I'm running for president.
Yeah.
I would be a little more like, you just got us on board.
So again, Dianne Feinstein hasn't made an announcement. I went on her Twitter feed though, And her latest post that was 46 minutes ago was that I was happy to secure in last month's end of the year federal spending bill $2.5 million for Taft College to build a vocational training facility to help train essential healthcare professionals. The space will serve 8,000 students a year. I don't know if she's putting out her resume, you know what I mean? Or kind of laundry listing. She does have many posts around, obviously, the flooding, Red Cross, staying safe, winter driving, things like that. But I don't know. Something rubs me the wrong way of people telling a woman like Katie Porter, wait, you have to ask the permission. And I understand it's another woman. And I understand, the glass ceilings that Dianne Feinstein has broken through, the work she does. I'm not trying to negate anything that Dianne Feinstein has done. I'm not even weighing in on her current mental state or her age. But if I believe in myself, I don't feel like there needs to be this process that I have to go through in order to make my intentions of what I want to do known. If I feel like I'm the best person for the job, I'm sure Katie Porter also thinks that if Dianne Feinstein says she's still running, Katie Porter is still going to run and primary her, right? That's what I would assume. So
I don't know. I feel like if you're almost 90, you think, I don't want to leave my job, my position, but if I do, there's got to be somebody really good to replace me. I'm not going to leave it in any hands. It's got to be the right person. Okay, well, now you found the right person. Now you found somebody good, right? So I guess if I was Senator Feinstein, I'd look at Katie Porter and go, all right, you're somebody I can pass the mantle to.
Or maybe it's not. Maybe Feinstein does want to run. And Katie's like, no way, woman. Like, no, I'm the better person. I know. And maybe so that's what's going on. We don't know what's going behind the scenes. Maybe Katie Porter reached out to Dianne Feinstein's office and they haven't responded. And Katie's like, you know what? There's no time like the present. I want people to know. I want my district to know that this is my intention as early as possible. I want to get ahead of any other challengers that there may be, Adam Schiff and others that may want the seat. So, I don't think there's anything wrong with Katie Porter coming out with Feinstein's blessing or not.
Let's play the what if game. What if Katie Porter did go to Dianne Feinstein?
Right.
And what if she said, listen, I know you're, it's a challenge for you to get to DC or whatever she said. And Feinstein said, no, I'm not ready to not run.
Yeah.
What does Katie Porter do? Then is she stuck saying, all right, well, Feinstein's going to run again, so I guess I won't. Or does she look at the situation and say, I went to her, I tried, to see if she would pass the torch.
Right.
She turned me down. So now I'm just going to take the torch.
Do you want someone that asks for permission? Or do you want someone that makes their clear intentions known? Now, Mindy, why can't Katie wait a little longer? Mindy asked to make the announcement. Let me ask you this, Mindy, and others in the chat. Why does she have to? I mean, if she wants to be the U.S. Senator, I would, and I'm playing devil's advocate here. I'm not saying that I think it would have been nice. Okay. But she doesn't, in my opinion, it's just nice. But it's not necessary, if that makes sense. If I believe I'm the best person for the job, then I'm the best person for the job.
But it shows especially when you're looking at someone like a Nancy Pelosi, a Dianne Feinstein, someone that has done so much for the party and for the state.
Paved the way for women.
Paved the way. You want to show respect, and that's kind of like, it's like if President Biden was going to run again and Governor Gavin Newsom said, nope, I'm running. It's like, you have some respect, you see what's going on. You don't challenge the person who's a leader.
What if, let's play the what if game again. What if Katie Porter went to Dianne Feinstein and Feinstein says, I'm not ready to make an announcement, but if and when I do, I would most likely support Adam Schiff. Then that would explain why Katie Porter would be like, well, screw you. Right. I'm going out front then. I'm going to make mine. And in all honesty, I'm Katie Porter all the way. I love that woman. I do. I think she's a fabulous politician. I think she speaks like we speak. She explains things like we explain things. She's a mom. She handles it all on her own. I like her. I really, really like her. She has proven herself to me that, her political star is just rising. And I think this state would so benefit, not let alone the country, of having a senator like Katie Porter there. So she totally, I'll make my endorsement now. If she runs, which she is, she totally has my vote. I hands down, unless something, horrific happened behind the scenes to Katie Porter. Absolutely. And so I have no problem. So maybe that's making me biased about, when she should be making the announcement. But I don't necessarily think that people need to feel so insulted, or slighted. It's just like, I want to be senator. So I'm going to run for senator.
Yeah.
I want to hear what Dianne Feinstein has to say. I'm wondering if she's a supporter of somebody else. And maybe that's.
I think your what if scenario has a lot of possibility that it's actually the right one.
Maybe. I mean, I would say,
Yeah.
Adam Schiff has, a lot of ties within the Democratic Party. He's been a huge face of it, taking on former President Trump and others. I'm sure he's made a relationship with Dianne Feinstein as well. Not saying Katie Porter hasn't. They are both from California and can, I don't know how long they've known each other, but yeah. Dianne Feinstein needs to come out and say something now, though. I think that waiting is a little bit ridiculous. It doesn't take anything away or any of the attention away from the floods and the federal disaster declaration or anything like that. I think she could do both, make the announcement and of course, still take care of her constituents in the state of California. John says, I think the respect is that you be polite to the person in a debate and when you talk. Oh, yes. Okay. David says, there's nothing disrespectful about challenging someone for political office. Thank you. I agree. Katie Porter thinks she's the best woman for the job, best person for the job. Mindy says, I think it's respectful to wait till the old gal decides to retire. Okay. Roberto says, what if Feinstein won and then her health became a factor as who and how would her replacement take place? Okay, so like who would replace her, who'd be appointed or something like that? Is that what you mean?
Yeah.
Okay, that's an interesting question. Yeah. Pamela says, Dianne Feinstein's too old. She needs to mentor Katie Porter. I'm donating to the Porter campaign today. Katie is awesome and smart, works for the people, and is not an a-hole. No permission needed. Yeah, it's just like, and let me ask you also this. If Dianne Feinstein was instead a man and Katie Porter was running, do you think people would say you should have asked for his permission? I don't think so.
I mean, it just so happens that we have a female senator that in this space, but I think it's no matter what. I mean, if it was Arizona, if it had been John McCain, if it had been a respected, long-serving senator, then I think the proper protocol, politeness, what have you, would be to go to that person and ask.
Okay. I mean, we'll see what happens. I think Dianne Feinstein needs to say something soon. I think it really leaves kind of this blank space for people to fill with whatever nonsense, like kind of like what we're doing, like to kind of guess what's going on. Why didn't she ask? What is Dianne Feinstein going to do? So hopefully Dianne Feinstein says something. And so, we'll keep an eye on that. Okay. We're going to do news this time. When we come back, I want to do some reaction to the Golden Globes. I know you were texting me last night, Kim, about the Golden Globes. I only watched bits and pieces, so full disclosure. But of course, the great thing about the internet is that you can see a lot of it on replay. So we'll touch on that. Again, click the thumbs up. I want to give some shout outs also after Kim's news. So those of you that have been so generous in the super chat with donations to the show. Even during the show, I got a new Patreon subscriber. So thank you for all of that. If you want to become a Patreon subscriber, the Nikki Medoro Show.com is where the link is, and you can find everything right there. And again, did you watch the Golden Globes? Were you happy about it? Did you like the host this time? Gerard Carmichael was his name. And I thought he was pretty good. His opening was, quite blunt about why he was chosen for it. Eddie Murphy, I think, had the best line of the whole entire thing. So I'll play you some of that. That's all coming up after the news.
Now, from around the world to up your street, the Nikki Medoro Show presents News Czar Kim McAllister.
And this report sponsored by tax attorney Steve Moskowitz at 888 Tax Deal. Let's get right to it. It's unfortunate news in the Bay Area. This is a situation in Sonoma County. A person found dead this morning inside of a car got stuck on a flooded roadway. The Sonoma County Sheriff's Office said 43-year-old Daphne Fontino, a resident of Ukiah, was trapped in her vehicle on a road here in Sonoma County in Forestville. It was Trenton Healdsburg Road. Police were called out on reports of a car stuck in the floodwaters. Rescue teams came out last night. 2 helicopters responded, searched the river. they couldn't find anything. So the effort was called off at nightfall because of dangerous conditions. It resumed this morning, and that is when a rescue team found this vehicle 100 yards off the road, submerged in 8 to 10 feet of water. So another person does not survive the storm in California. The powerful storms that marched across California early yesterday apparently included a small tornado. This is a rainbow tornado. I thought the picture was cool. This is not the smaller tornado that appeared in the Stockton area, but National Weather Service observers say 2 areas of wind damage were recorded, including straight line wind damage near the Stanislaus County town of Oakdale and an EF1 tornado in Milton, east of Stockton. The tornado touched down for about a half mile, took some trees down along with it. No one injured. Winds topped out about 90 miles per hour in this case. Speaking of the Stockton area, let's go to this. This is a sad and unfortunate story. This is a mother and newborn that had to be rescued from a Central California area. On Monday, firefighters found this woman giving birth in a flooding riverbed. Firefighters in the town of Lompoc came across this woman. Apparently, they say she was actively giving birth. They were out there looking for some reports of black smoke on North H Street near the Santa Ynez River. And that is when they found this woman, the child's father also there. The woman delivered her child prematurely while surrounded by water flowing through the riverbed. All 3 people rescued, the mom, the dad, and the premature baby. Mother and child were taken to Lompoc Hospital. Don't know how that little one is doing right now.
Oh
But
my God. I mean, baby comes when baby comes. And as we know, these, premature births can happen. How awful, though. What a situation you don't want to find yourself in. My God.
No, what a nightmare. I'm telling you. So, king tides. This is a picture of Sausalito when the king tides come in. This is not recent. This is the last time the king tides came. King tides are returning to the Bay Area the weekend of January 21st and 22nd. That brings, look at that, an increased risk of flood. According to the Port of San Francisco, the tides are set to peak between 10:30 and 11:30 a.m. both days. That's January 21st and 22nd. So remember, don't drive into the rising floodwaters, right? If you had to get a hotel room, or if you had to get a rental car because of the nationwide ground stop where they stopped all air travel, you're not getting reimbursed. That's all on you. NBC reporting the airlines are not going to pay you for this FAA system failure. In fact, the computer glitch will probably fall under what they call an act of God, which means they are not responsible. So once again, we're on the hook for all the money. The cost of living, the rising cost of living, may be the most pressing issue facing the world right now. A new report by the World Economic Forum found food scarcity, inflation, and an energy crisis are the greatest short-term global threat, particularly for vulnerable populations. Climate change listed as the biggest long-term threat. And in the San Diego area, county sheriff's deputy is accused of stealing prescription drugs from a drug drop boxes at various sheriff stations. Corey Ritchie is a San Diego native and a 15-year veteran of the sheriff's department, pleaded not guilty to yesterday after he was arrested last week on drug possession and burglary charges. Prosecutors say Ritchie went into the patrol stations after hours and took the medications from the drop boxes, likely took the drugs himself. The judge granted him conditional release. They required he go into drug treatment, stay away from alcohol and drug use, surrender his service weapon, and stay away from the sheriff's offices while his case is pending. Ritchie has been suspended without pay from the department and is due back in court in July. Speaking of drugs, President Biden is pleading with Mexico, please stop the flow of drugs like fentanyl to the Texas border. Experts are saying those pleas are falling on deaf ears, though. Professor Tony Payen with Rice University's Baker Institute says the Mexican president has been mocked for his hands-off approach to drug smuggling. And this report, sponsored by tax attorney Steve Moskowitz for more than 30 years. Steve has put his tax knowledge to work for individuals and for businesses. So if you need help with your taxes, Steve's at 888-TAX-DEAL. He's also online at
I don't know why it is, but when you you're clear the whole entire time, and when you do Moskowitz's thing, you kind of break up. Or it's like muffled.
Really?
Did you do something to your microphone right there? No, it's okay. AAA Tax Deal, MoskowitzLLP.com. See, you sound clear right now. No, I don't know if you like put your arms up when you do it because you're all sassy pants with doing Moskowitz little. You're like, hey, Steve, sound clear right now.
MoskowitzLLP.com. Did you hear me?
There you
888 Tax Deal.
There
Did
you
you hear
go.
me?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Awesome. All right. Okay. So I do want to give some huge shouts out to people in the comments that have been supporting the show. Andreas, you overwhelm me with your love for the show. I appreciate you so much. Andreas started us off with $20 in the super chat and a prayer for my daughter. And just urging other people with another $20 to donate to the show is so generous because you have been so generous. Lori decided to jump on in, $20, sending support and love. Thank you, Lori, so much. I appreciate it. And then Andreas again, another $20 for my daughter, for Kim, for the show, and then $50. Necessity is the mother of invention, Andreas writes. Kim's daughter proved we could talk live on your podcast. Tell the phone number and we can talk live. We'll have to get a burner phone, I think, for that. Not giving you all my cell phone numbers. Phone will never stop ringing, I'm positive. But Andreas, yes, I did just actually prove that. So maybe in a pinch, we'll just have to bring some people on and get some
Hold the phone up to could you hear her pretty clearly when I put the phone up?
And I go to the library. I think everybody heard that. Everybody knew. Oh, and then Beth just came in for a $20 donation to the super chat.
Beth.
Thank you. May your daughter overcome her difficulties. Yeah, and I'll keep you guys posted. Again, if you don't know, my daughter is homesick. She's been sick this week. She had a pretty bad flare up last week as well. And so we will be taking her to the hospital later today, and I'll keep you guys posted. But let's talk about something a little bit more lighthearted, please. And that, of course, is, did you watch the Golden Globes? So the Golden Globes are back. Last year they didn't do it. They gave out awards, but they didn't have a show. I think I have that correct. So it's because the Golden Globes, Hollywood Foreign Press, that's, the organization behind the Golden Globes Award. They're too white, I guess. They have no diversity. They were taking a moment to reflect. They were taking time to think. It's like somebody wrote them the PR thing that everybody does when you've been caught, doing something like that. And so they were back. And I think that it went pretty well. Again, I didn't watch it live. I did watch Gerard Carmichael's opening. I wasn't able to pull the whole thing, but all you need is the first line. He says, "I know why they asked me to host, and it's because I'm Black." And then it was like a 10-minute long, monologue. But he laid out the story of being told, there was a producer of the show who's also a Black guy that he knows, saying, "Hey, we want you to host." And he's like, I'm really torn about this because on one hand, has anything really changed? No, we know that, right? I mean, nothing's really changed with the Hollywood Foreign Press. They're trying to have a better image, the optics. Right. They want to improve the optics. But then he says, do you know how much he said that he was being paid? And I don't know if he was joking or if he was serious, but he threw it out there. He said he was being paid $500,000 to host the Golden Globes.
What?
And he's like, yeah, when my family hears that, that's a big old yes for me. You can put all your morals and, all that to the side. You're paying me $500,000 to host the show and make fun of celebrities for, a few hours. Done. I thought he was funny. I thought that he did a really good job. It's not easy. I would never want to host an award show, especially by myself, where all the attention's on me and I've never done it before.
God, so you and I would have the best time doing that together, though.
Well, exactly. It's kind of like, Tina Fey and Amy Poehler, they always do it together because they can just banter back and forth and it's fun that way. But to do it on your own, I don't think so. Some other highlights of Volodymyr Zelensky, of course, the president of Ukraine, addressed obviously Hollywood and the world and kind of was talking about how this isn't a movie. There are real lives out there. And I thought that was really touching. Of course, some people just watch it for the clothes. I'll have some pictures in just a bit. But of course, it's the speeches, right? So Eddie Murphy won the Cecil B. DeMille Award, right? I think that's what he won it for. And so he was giving a great speech, talking about all sorts of things. I'm going to play you because I pulled it. And thankfully, they knew exactly what he was going to say, so I didn't even have to mute it. So here is Eddie Murphy during his Golden Globe speech.
I want to let you know that there is a definitive blueprint that you can follow to achieve success, prosperity, longevity, and peace of mind. It's a blueprint, and I followed it my whole career. It's very simple. It's 3 things. You just do these 3 things. Pay your taxes, mind your business, and keep Will Smith's wife's name
out your mofo mouth, right? So that's obviously a callback to the slap in the Oscars, and so funny, but like at the same time, I mean, has enough time passed? Is it not too soon? It's not too soon. Is it too soon to make jokes about a man hitting another man and assaulting him on national television? I don't know. It felt a little, I cracked up and then I was like, should I be laughing at that? Is that appropriate to be laughing at? Because that was freaking funny. I thought it was really funny.
I think everybody knows that Eddie Murphy, before he was an actor, he was a comedian.
Oh, yes, exactly. Oh, yeah. I mean, it's just, it was a really great line. Jennifer Coolidge also won for her role in White Lotus. And and here she is. I mean, you guys know who she is. She was in White Lotus. And she made a really great speech.
Every time I see her, I just think of Bend and Snap.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Well, of course. And she's awesome. She's with Stifler's mom in the American Pie movies.
Yep.
She's just really, really funny. And she's definitely had a resurgence. Although it doesn't seem like she's gone away, but being an actor or actress, when you're in and when you're out, right? So here's a little bit of her speech. And she's talking to the director of White Lotus, Mike Wright.
This hook came out and took me off the stage at the Emmys. And I didn't get to say what I really wanted to say, which is, I didn't get to say, Mike White. I just want you all to know that I had such big dreams and expectations as a younger person, but what happened was they get sort of fizzled by life or whatever, and I thought I was going to be Queen of Monaco, even though someone else did it, but I had these giant ideas, and then you get older and you're...
She cusses right here.
And I just want to say, Mike White, you have given me hope you've given me a new beginning. Even this is the end, because you did kill me off, but it doesn't matter, because even if this is the end, you sort of changed my life in a million different ways, and my neighbors are speaking to me, things like that. And I mean it. None of those people. I was never invited to one party on my hill, and now everyone's inviting me. And I just, it's to you, Mike White, and I just want to say this is something all of you know. If you don't know Mike White, this is what you should know. It's like he's worried about the world. He's worried about people. He's worried about friends of his that aren't doing well, or if they're doing, he's always worried about people. You're worried about animals, all that. And I just, he really is one of the greatest people I've ever met. I mean, he gives me.
Yeah. And ever met is what she said. It ended right there. But yeah, I think that Jennifer Coolidge, she's so funny. She gives these speeches and I love those moments. I think that's what you watch these awards shows for, are those sorts of moments. Yeah. Angela Bassett, you were texting me about, she's the first female from a Marvel movie to win a Golden Globe. Because she's already won. This is when she won her first Golden Globe. Look at those arms.
She won the Golden Globe Tuesday for her performance as Queen Ramonda in Black Panther.
So this is her
Wakanda Forever.
Night. Yeah.
Makes the 64-year-old woman the very first actor, male or female, to ever win a major individual acting award for a movie based on Marvel Comics, and the first female ever nominated for a Golden Globe for any superhero film.
So there you go. And it is, I mean, Black Panther is a superhero film, but I mean, so she's won 2. This was her first. I'm assuming, I think it was for What's Love Got to Do About It, where she played Tina Turner. I think that's what she won her first one for. I could be wrong about that. But so Angela Bassett was a big winner. So, and speaking of superhero movies, I know that Everything Everywhere All at Once I don't think it's a technical superhero movie, although people are kind of calling it a superhero movie.
What's it about?
It's like a multiverse. I haven't seen it. I've been wanting to see it. It was on one of my streaming services, and then they took it off before I could watch it. So hopefully it'll come back. But Michelle Yeoh won. And she was apparently it wasn't the pianist that they had playing live. It was recorded music, but she I think thought it was the pianist because this is what she was saying when she made her speech. Here she is.
Then along came the best gift. Everything, everywhere, all at once. Shut up, please. I can beat you up, okay? And that's serious. And I thank you, A24.
Yeah, so she was looking at the pianist, but it wasn't actually the pianist playing. And I think Carmichael actually said, it's not her, it's a recording. So don't beat up the poor lady.
Don't be mean to the musicians.
Don't be mean to the musician. And so, yeah, I think there was a lot of good ones. I wanted to share one more. Did you ever see Elvis? Did you ever see the Elvis movie?
I just watched that
What'd you
2 nights ago.
What'd you think?
I had a hard time getting into it.
Oh, really? Okay.
And then I liked the actor who was Elvis, but everything else, I guess I wanted more Elvis and less periphery.
Okay,
I mean,
so like the backstory or whatever.
Yeah, the whole Tom Hanks character backstory and all that other stuff. I mean, it's germane to the point and everything else, but I felt like, I don't know. It was
I liked it. I really, really liked it.
Did
It
you?
was hard for me because at first when I saw like previews or the billboards for the movie, I did not think that Austin Butler looked like Elvis. But then when I was watching the movie, I got into it even more. Well, so here he is. He won a Golden Globe for playing Elvis, Austin Butler. But people had been accusing him of still using the Elvis voice. So you guys tell me, here he is addressing that, I guess, criticism.
Think about it. I don't think I sound like him still, but I guess I must because I hear it a lot. I think, I often liken it to when somebody lives in another country for a long time.
Yeah.
I had 3 years where that was my only focus in life, so I'm sure that there's just pieces of my DNA that will always be linked in that way.
So I like that he was talking about when you're in another country. I'm one of those people. I'm one of those people that if I hang out with someone that has an accent, let's just say a Southern accent, I'll start incorporating it. I'll just all of a sudden, like, I don't know where this accent's coming from. But so if I was an actor and I had to play a role for 3 years where I spoke a certain way, it would be really hard for me to let it go. It'd be very hard.
Someone tweeted last night, he missed an opportunity when he won the award to say at the end, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I'm sure he didn't want to because he's probably going to get criticized for it. But yeah, I think I liked it. I liked the Elvis movie. Someone else was agreeing with you, Kim. It wasn't as much Elvis-centric movie.
Yeah.
I guess the reason why I liked it so much is I didn't know. Obviously, I'm not a huge Elvis fan, so I didn't really know so much about it. But it kind of put in perspective why he kind of deteriorated so much and so quickly. And I had no idea about that whole close relationship with his mother because, again, not an Elvis fan. I'm sure that's common knowledge to people that are Elvis fans. So I didn't realize that the devastation, the relationship with his mother when she passed, all of those sorts of things, had such an impact on him. Now, of course, there's his marriage to Priscilla and her age, and that's all awkward. But yeah, I thought I liked the Golden Globes, at least in the recap that I saw. And then, of course, there's always the close. So I'll say this, men have it so freaking easy. All you have to do is wear a suit. Although I'm going to show you some pictures. Now, I think this is the Daily Mail's. Just going through. I just choose Daily News. Choose some sites that will show off the clothes.
Quite a gown. Wow.
Okay, so this is Lily James. I like it. Dresses like this one look like they would wrinkle very easily. And I always think to myself, how the hell am I gonna pee in this? Like I gotta go runch it all up. Like like your wedding dress, right? It's like, I gotta hold it up there or have a friend. So, but I love the color. She looks amazing in it.
I love how there's so much fabric and poofiness and then skin in the midriff. It's like
you have to show the skin. Absolutely. Okay, let's go to now. This is Letitia White. Or Letitia White. I apologize. She was also in Black Panther.
Pretty
dress. It reminds me. I mean, like it kind of looks burnt, but like in a pretty way, with the colors. It looks great on her and it's different. So that's what I like about this dress. It's not, I would wear something like this.
Orange was kind of the color. There was one actress I forget who it was, but she started in Hollywood. She did homeschool because she was trying to achieve her dreams. And she
Okay.
was in a big movie and she never got to go to prom. So she wore her
Oh.
sister's prom dress last
Oh,
night.
that's nice.
And it's this orange kind of sequin looking number. So it seems like orange is the hot new color.
Orange is the new black, I guess. Margot Robbie. Now, she has a very pretty dress. She's a gorgeous woman. I want to show you this dress. This is Margot Robbie. And then a little bit later, I'm going to show you another dress, and it looks very similar. It's not the same. I like this dress. It's a little bit different. This was a choice. This reminds me, this is Emma Darcy. Reminds me of someone trying to play the Penguin in Batman movies.
Huh.
The glove, the ring, the purple peek out. It's a choice. It wouldn't be my choice, but okay. I mean, it's not my favorite. Here's Seth Rogen and his wife. What do you think about colored tuxedos, Kim?
I'm not a fan.
Yeah, I'm not a fan either. Somebody else wore a blue tuxedo. I know you want to be
I've seen
different,
like
but
a crushed velvet maroon or dark blue that I didn't mind, but the light pastel colors just remind me of like a,
yeah.
goofy weddings and proms from the 70s.
Yeah, and I mean, I think he's a comedian. He's trying to be funny. Maybe that's why he's wearing it. I don't know. Here's Michelle Yeoh again. She looks gorgeous. That's an interesting dress, but it looks fabulous on her. Really looks nice. Now, what do you think about this? Orange, back to kind of that color.
Right.
As a suit, he makes it work. It's Andrew Garfield. He makes it work. I think it looks good. It's tailored. You see, it's a tailored suit, which I think is so important.
Yeah.
Here is Salma Hayek. She's gorgeous. The only thing I would say about this dress is I don't like the black on the sleeves because it looks like her bra straps are showing.
Yeah, it does. I'm not a fan of that dress.
She's gorgeous either way. Here's Austin Butler and Salma Hayek. And again, he's in a suit. You can't go wrong with a black suit. Here's Donald Glover. Now, this is an interesting choice of a suit. Kind of got the flowy, kind of tunic-y type top, flowy pants that don't actually fit. They're a little too long. But Donald Glover. He can
funky.
That off. Yeah, he could pull that off. Sigourney Weaver. I look at this dress. I wish it was a little more fitted. It reminds me of a dress that has pockets. Doesn't that dress look like it has pockets? Like she could just put her and then like do like the flying squirrel.
I like that dress. It looks comfortable.
Yeah. But yeah, it's a little baggy for my liking, but it's Sigourney Weaver. She can wear whatever the hell she wants to wear.
Yeah.
This is Naomi Scott and Adam Scott. He's on Severance. I think that's the show he's on, probably nominated for. I don't like that bolo type tie. It's just not my style. It's okay. At least the suit fits. So I'll do it. There's Eddie Murphy. And then,
is he wearing a crop jacket?
No. Eddie Murphy's on the right.
One?
That's Tyler James Williams. He's in Abbott Elementary, which I've been urging you to watch. Abbott Elementary. He's one of the teachers. Very funny show. And they both look good. And that's an interesting choice for Williams on the left, our left. It's a bit different. Claire Danes, who's in Something's Wrong with Fleischman. That's what it's called. Great series. It's on Apple. No, it's on Hulu, I think. This reminds me, it's a little
wedding cake.
A wedding is fluffy, kind of. So I don't know about that one. And then
or a lampshade.
or a toilet, not a toilet paper cover, in the bathrooms. And then Quinta Brunson, who is the star and writer creator of Abbott Elementary. This is a dress. I like it on her. She pulls it off. She's very tiny. She's a very tiny. She's like my height, very tiny person. And so I think she pulls it off. So those are just some of the looks. We did our best Joan Rivers kind of commentary about it, but I thought it's okay. I mean, I'm not a huge award show watcher. It was what it was. I'm glad that, people that won. The only one that I was kind of surprised by, or at least in the social media world was surprised by, House of Dragons won Best Drama TV over Better Call Saul, that people thought would, and I love Better Call Saul. So I'm kind of leaning towards that. House of Dragons, it's new, really best drama. Maybe it just had a lot of hype behind it. So
I'm watching it.
House of Dragons?
I finished the first season. So yeah.
There you go, baby. It's good, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's all very violent. You know,
of course it is. That's why I love it.
The story's good.
There you go. All right, before we end the show, click that thumbs up button, please. It helps us so much, and we really appreciate it. I love all of you. Another shout out, Rosalie, $20 in the super chat. Thank
that's
you.
so nice. Thank
Beth
you.
came in with a $20 one,
Beth.
you know, and a prayer for my daughter.
Yeah.
Andreas has been a huge supporter. I'm just going to go through all of them from Andreas. $50, $20, another $20 from Andreas. And he started us off with $20. And then, of course, Lori also donated $20 to the show. We love you. Mwah, mwah, mwah. I appreciate it all. I hope I did okay getting through this show. I appreciate all of your guys' prayers and thoughts. Kim will talk about the rest of the week. Because my daughter will be in the hospital, so I'm not going to be here. I'm just going to be straight up about it. So I'll have to reschedule some things because I did have some fun things planned for tomorrow. We started this new segment called Why Do You Do It? And I have a singer that's going to come on, a professional singer. I have an author who's kind of switched careers that Kim, we know personally. So I'll reschedule with them. So that will likely happen next week. Fingers crossed. And so more show is coming. I will keep you guys posted. Stay tuned to all of my socials. I know that we're a family here on the Nikki Medoro Show, and I don't want you guys to think that I'm leaving you hanging, but priorities are at home, and that's just the way it's going to be. But I love you all. I'll keep you posted, and we will talk very soon. Bye-bye.
Nikki, you're all so awesome. You're proud, like a beautiful blossom. You're also the best. I really can't rest. You're all so awesome.
Wow. Okay.